Do you ever drop $800 in Gore-Tex hiking boots and never go outside when it rains? Or pay $14 for a protein smoothie that tastes like regret in a cup? Welcome to the myth that expensive equals better quality. It's time to demolish it. Let's start with wine, because it's where science decided to wreck mansplaining. Psychologist Richard Wiseman ran a double-blind experiment with over 400 participants tasting cheap and expensive bottles. Only 53% could identify the pricier wine, basically guessing. Some even preferred the cheap stuff. Another experiment by Caltech and Stanford scanned brains while people drank identical wines labeled at different prices. The fancy labels lit up their pleasure centers, not because the wine changed, but because their brain expectations did. The takeaway: price can trick your brain. It doesn't change taste or quality, it just makes you think it does. Want another example? Your wallet's about to quit again. Sociologists noted that Irish beef sells like hotcakes in Germany because Germans care about quality. Irish beef is cheap, but quality. In some other countries, not as much. They're more materialistic. They judge by price, tag, and packaging, not flavor or longevity. It's a weird cultural twist, but the data suggests quality perception often comes down to status signaling, not actual value. Here's a classic store test. A restaurant near a law firm ran a little experiment. They raised the price on cheap wines and lowered the price on expensive ones. Did folks switch? Nope. They ordered the expensive bottle anyway, assuming it's better because their brain demanded it. That's pure price quality heuristic in motion. This phenomenon extends beyond wine. Take clothing or outdoor gear. A mid-tier Gore-Tex jacket costs half as much as the premium model. But unless you're scaling Everest, you won't notice the extra seam seal or the zippier zipper. And you'll sweat just the same. Meanwhile, you're paying for label hype. Shoes are another debatable investment. Reddit users note in some jobs a cheap $80 boot might last 6 months. A $300 boot might last up to a year, but not enough to justify the headspace. Sometimes you're just paying for brand prestige, not lifestyle. Luxury goods work on the Veblen effect, where higher price conveys desirability, exclusivity, and status. People buy Gucci or Rolex because the price signals something, not because they actually perform better. So do you ever need top tier quality? Sure, if you're demanding durability or professional level performance, but in most cases, you're better off getting a mid-range item with solid reviews and ignoring the hype. Here's how it unravels in everyday life. Materialism kicks in. A raise equals lifestyle creep. Instead of boosting savings, you upgrade your car, phone, rent, or smoothie budget, none of which actually last or provide added durability. You sell in status, not quality, but your bank statement sells your soul. Culture and advertising train you to believe expensive is better, even if your brain has been fed placebo. Let's talk consumer cultures, because not everyone's conditioned to think that expensive equals better. In North America, studies show well over half of shoppers, around 61%, make switching decisions primarily based on price, not quality. That means Americans and Canadians often default to the assumption that the most expensive product must be the highest quality, without digging deeper. Contrast that with Ireland and parts of Europe. Survey data reveals Irish consumers are demanding value, not just prestige. They're highly quality conscious, checking country of origin labels, traceability, and freshness, especially with food. A Board BIA study found 79% of Irish shoppers say quality matters more than price when buying fresh groceries, even though 52% still check price first. That balance shows Irish consumers are willing to pay a moderate per premium, often up to 10% for quality and ethically produced products, but they won't just buy luxury for the logo. A PwC and a KPMG survey also found that over half of Irish consumers expect good quality and fair pricing and can sniff out brands that engage in shrinkflation or corner cutting. They often switch to private labels or cheaper alternatives if quality drops, even if the brand is fancy. Cultural self-perception matters too. Irish shoppers reportedly feel uncomfortable complaining about the price, even if they suspect they're overpaying, but at the same time, they're suspicious of overpriced prestige brands. They care about product transparency and fairness over status symbols. So yes, there's a real difference. In North America, consumption culture reinforces price equals quality assumptions. In Ireland and many parts of Europe, shoppers still question that assumption and look deeper. They want quality, ethical practices, local sourcing, and traceability, not just bragging rights. Let's talk about the one pair of good shoes theory. The idea that if you buy one expensive quality pair, you'll outlast 5 cheap ones and save you money in the long run. Sounds smart, right? Let's slow down and look closer. Yeah, maybe you should shell out $400 for a lifetime pair of boots, hand-stitched in Italy by some guy named Luca who only works on Tuesdays. Supposedly they last you a decade. But here's the kicker. Fashion changes. One minute you're a rugged minimalist. The next minute you're looking like someone's divorced uncle stuck in 2013. And suddenly those timeless boots ain't so timeless. Plus, nothing lasts forever. Even high-end gear wears out. Soles crack, leather dries, seams split. And it's so expensive you're afraid to wear it, what was the point? The same goes for camping and outdoor gear. People drop $800 on a jacket with the best Gore-Tex membrane because it breathes better while you sweat in a snowstorm. But they only use it for the annual dog walk in October. Meanwhile, next season there's a new model in a better shade of burnt glacier and your gear looks like it came out of a museum. Mid-range is often the sweet spot. You get solid quality, decent looks, and you don't cry if it rips on a tree branch. Or worse, if it goes out of style. So while buy once, cry once sounds noble, in the real world, you might just end up crying over a receipt for something you barely use. And while we're busting the expensive equals better myth, let's talk drugs. No, not the fun kind that make you think your couch is whispering secrets. I mean pharmaceuticals. Brand name meds versus generics. Here's a scam. You go to the pharmacy, the doctor prescribes you something with a fancy name. Let's say Zybrotrex XR Max Ultra. You don't know what it does, but it sounds like it should either cure your cold or launch a spaceship. The pharmacist says, do you want the brand name or the generic? And you're thinking, well, I don't want the cheap one. This is my health we're talking about. But here's the truth bomb. They're the same damn thing. Literally, same active ingredient, same dosage. Same effect on your body. The only difference, the brand name pill costs $80 and comes in a sleek designer box. The generic costs $12 and comes in a bottle that looks like it was labeled by a bored intern using in Microsoft Paint. Why the price difference? Because Big Pharma spent millions on advertising to convince you that Zybral Trex XR is somehow more powerful than the methyl doded chloride, the actual ingredient used doing the work. And because none of us think it's not that expensive, it's not effective. North Americans especially fall for this. We want the Cadillac of cold medicine. But you know who doesn't fall for that crap? A lot of Europeans. They'll pop the generic, save the cash, and still be up drinking wine on a patio by 5 p.m. while you're bankrupt over a glorified Tylenol in a shiny box. If you want freedom, don't fall for the expensive trap. Buy smart, buy used, buy functional. Skip the label-based lifestyle upgrades that vanish faster than hype. Remember, price is a tool of marketing, not a guarantee. So unless you're a pro, an enthusiast, or know exactly what marginal benefit you're paying for, chances are you're just funding someone's marketing budget. The bottom line, expensive doesn't always mean better quality. And whether you buy into that myth often comes down to where you grew up, how you shop, and whether you care more about status or substance. So hit subscribe and come out and enjoy the outdoors on a midweek afternoon when the crowds aren't there.